John O'Keefe was a respected Boston police officer, a man devoted to his badge, his family, and those closest to him. At the center of his life was Karen Reed, a financial analyst with whom he shared a complicated, passionate relationship. Their romance, marked by both affection and turbulence, would ultimately become the focal point of a murder case that captured the nation. On a bitter January night in 2022, O'Keefe's body was found lifeless in the snow outside of 34 Fairview Road in Canton, Massachusetts. Authorities charged Karen Reed with his murder, alleging she struck him with her SUV in a drunken rage. But Reed and her supporters claim a cover-up, suggesting he was beaten inside the home by someone else. Her first trial in 2024 ended in a hung jury, dividing the public and igniting a firestorm of controversy. Now, in the retrial, all the evidence is in, and the arguments have been made, and the jury has the case. And tonight, we are live from Dedham, Massachusetts, as we wait for the jury to speak. I'm Vinnie Politan. Great to have you with us tonight on Closing Arguments. There is a live look of the courthouse where the jury was deliberating all day today in the retrial of the century. Great to have you aboard. And let me tell you, it lived up to its billing in terms of being the retrial of the century. The public that showed up today, the anxiousness, the intensity, everything was happening outside the courthouse, while inside the jury room, the jury worked all day. And, you know, waiting outside and seeing all the people who have now shown up here in Dedham, Massachusetts, waiting to hear what this jury will say. It's a huge case. The verdict will be dramatic. I don't know what it's going to be. Nobody knows. My guess is at this point, the 12 jurors don't even know. But everyone is here waiting. I'm here. We are live. And I will be here until that verdict is delivered. I have with me, I'm not going to need it tonight, but perhaps tomorrow night, I'll be wearing the red tie. Always have it standing by, just in case, because you know, I know, we all know, a verdict can happen at any moment, so we are prepared. You know who else is prepared? Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson, who is with me tonight, seated right here. And let me tell you, Matt, it was a beautiful day today. The sun was glaring down. Hundreds and hundreds of people here. Last time I was here a month ago, there were a few, right? A few down the street this way, a couple down there, you know. Then they showed up for our show, obviously.
For your
right?
show, yeah.
I think the crowd was bigger at our show than at the courthouse last time I was here.
Well, a couple of weeks back, right? And then since
about a month.
Since then, we have seen a growing number of supporters out here in front of the courthouse. And then it made a big difference when the buffer zone was challenged in court. It went all the way up, but it was upheld. But that higher court had strongly urged the lower court to relax it a little bit.
Yeah, and
to which they did.
Yeah, and everyone's, I mean, obeying. Like, there's no chanting, there's no screams. They
cover T-shirts with tape.
Yeah.
They're doing sign language now. It's really kind of eerie. You might think that something is different with your television or something wrong, because when Karen Reed walks out now, you don't hear the big eruptions of people. It's actually just silence, and you hear all of the reporters scrambling around.
But what's interesting is it's more silent when she comes out, right? Like, there might be a moment where they're about to do it, and then Alan Jackson will give them the signal, and then there's this almost deafening quiet. Right. Which, when you look at all the people that are here, to be that quiet at once is as powerful.
But this video doesn't even do it justice, because this video really is just a snapshot of what we're seeing up and down the street here in historic downtown Dedham Square. It wraps on the side of the courthouse. It goes down the block. You have people blocks away even.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's
now we're getting a better look at it. We're getting a little bit of a better
And that's
look.
the silent movement that they're doing. They're doing some sign language, they say.
Yeah, absolutely. To me, it was jaw-dropping, having been here a month ago and then showing up today to this crowd. Couldn't even get a parking spot. I had to wait 15 minutes.
It's a little
I had to
bit
wait
tough.
15 minutes to get a parking spot here at the Registry of Deeds.
That's where everyone is parking, in the back. You know, and then that's where also the troopers are. That's where a lot of the witnesses had to park. But Karen Reed has also addressed on the first night of Verdict Watch the crowds being out, bigger in number, and also being silent, if we could listen to it. Are you going to be...
Verdict Watch. What do you like to do?
Not much you can do, but try to occupy your mind.
How do you feel that it's almost over?
Ready.
Anything to say to your supporters?
Thank you. I love that.
So, you know, this defendant, typically she doesn't speak a whole lot during the verdict watch, or at least that's what we saw last year. That's what we're seeing the first couple days this year, but always answers questions about her supporters.
Yeah. It's an interesting relationship. I mean, it's a very close relationship. You know, when we were down at Johnny Depp, it was a little different because he's like a star, right? This man is one of the biggest.
And so was Amber Heard.
Right, and Amber Heard. But Johnny Depp, like super A-lister. And the fans loved him, but he's used to that, right?
Right.
You're a star. You've been a star for years, and you get that. This is so different. This is the support, but it's also like it's, to me, it's genuine when you walk around here. Like there's a genuine investment by these folks in the outcome.
But the investment is not just in her case. When you get into the nitty-gritty of a lot of her supporters that are out here, and you spoke with a couple of them earlier today, and they shared that with you.
Yeah, it's interesting because they want a sense of justice. They're skeptical now of the government. What's really interesting about this is, you know, what's the long-term impact, right? Does this have lasting impact on police witnesses, on the credibility of prosecutors inside of a courtroom? Will they, you know, because generally, I mean, we have to be honest, like through the years, police officer testifies, there's sort of a, all right, yeah, we believe him. Why would they come in here and lie about that? But now I think this trial has changed that dynamic, at least here, with the people I was speaking
And it's probably going to change the outcome, or at least how future cases are tried that are connected to certain individuals like the boogeyman Proctor.
Right. Oh, yeah, exactly.
Like Brian Walsh, who's going to be tried in this courthouse.
That's right. That's right. And we got that trial coming up. Let's talk about the defense. They filed a motion today?
Yep. So the day started off with a delay from this defendant exiting the courthouse after the jury went back and started their deliberations of their first full day, second day of deliberations, and it was a motion to alter the verdict form.
Oh,
and
boy.
This is a renewed, in a sense, motion. They asked for it last year. They asked for it again this year. Let's put it on your screen. It really has to do with the second charge, and it's manslaughter while operating a vehicle. They're really asking for more not guilties on that, but Judge Beverly Cannoni right away denied that request without holding any sort of arguments on the matter. Outside the courthouse on the steps here, we asked Karen Reed about it as she was exiting. Take a listen.
There was no preparation this weekend. What did you do for the weekend now that you don't have to prepare anymore?
We wrote a motion to reconsider the verdict slip that was just denied without a hearing.
You want more boxes added to that verdict
Yes.
slip, the lesser included.
Yes.
Can you explain why that's important to you?
I think what happened last year with the same verdict form explains that the jurors themselves found it confusing, and it said as much. So we just wanted to avoid that again, and apparently it's not working. So we'll just move forward, and you know.
Overall feelings heading into today, Karen?
I feel well. I feel strong, and the jury will do the right thing.
And this is what you've reported and other outlets. You know, you interviewed one or two of the jurors who said that they were confused in the back room in the courthouse here. That went all the way through the court system. They were claiming double jeopardy. They were trying to get the charges dropped. And here we are. The charges were upheld, and now we're in verdict watch.
Yeah, and I've got the verdict slip right here, a copy of it, not like the verdict slip.
It's very lengthy that they have to go through.
It's lengthy. What I would have done, personally, in designing this, Matt,
what would you have done?
I would have taken the lesser included and indented them a little bit, right? So they're included under that second charge. Otherwise, it looks like she's facing 5 charges here.
Right.
When, you know, she's not. She's only facing these charges if you find her not guilty of this. And without the not guilties, it's just, you have one not guilty on the top, followed by or not guilty of the offense charged or any lesser included offense. So if you read it, you should be fined. But I would have
make
indented.
more sense if it was indented over.
Yeah, because
like paragraph over.
It's included.
Because then you would be able to like glance at it. It would make more sense.
It'd be more visually appealing too. All
But
right.
everyone in there, I'm sure all 12 are lawyers. They got it.
Exactly. So how about those 12? Tell us about that jury.
Okay, so the 12 that are deliberating right now, remember we had 18. We did not lose a single one, which is amazing for this length of a trial, folks. Usually trials are 2 to 3 weeks that we go to. But anyway, the jury is selected originally, that started 12 weeks ago. That jury selection process took 3 weeks, and there was 9 men, 9 women. They heard all the case evidence. Then you had the bingo machine. They were pulling the alternate names. There was 6, or at least the numbers. And then now we're left with 7 women and 5 men that are deliberating this case. And I know that you have your tie ready.
Yeah, it's here.
And you know, and I know that you're going to have it with you tomorrow morning. But there have been times, you know, that we've covered trials together even, where the jury just sleeps on it.
Yeah.
Because they asked for more time today, but not the full amount of time. They could have stayed until like 5 or 5:30 or something. It's a security thing. But they stayed until 4:30, much later than last week. So maybe they're close.
Maybe they're close. I mean, I don't know. Anyone who tells you they know is lying. They're absolutely lying to you because nobody else. Matt Johnson, what I'm going to do is...
Yes.
I'm going to let you go. Not that I can keep you here, but I want you to get some rest because you have a long day every day.
Yes.
And I want you to rest up.
I'm going to be live with Julie Grant in the morning.
Right. So you got to get up early. So thank you so much, Matt Johnson. As Matt mentioned, I had an opportunity to walk the streets of Dedham and speak to some of the folks who are here. 100% of them are Karen Read supporters. You know, I'm looking for anybody or everybody, but they were all Karen Read supporters. Here's some of what they had to tell me today. What do you think the reaction is going to be here in the streets of Dedham if the jury comes back not guilty?
Are you kidding me? It's going to be party in the streets. Yes.
But you can't. But you can't scream now, right? You still have to be.
Oh, please. If Karen comes back and he comes back not guilty, this place is going to be joy. It's going to be wild. It's going to be tears. It's going to be happiness, relief, the pressure that we've all felt, and the anxiety and the frustration and the corruption and everything that we've been feeling for all this time is going to be worth it in the end if we finally are able to see Karen get the justice that she deserves.
If this jury comes back and says guilty, what do you think happens here in the streets of Dedham?
Sad, very sad time because we all know she's not guilty. He wasn't hit by a car. John O'Keefe was not hit by a car. It's very simple. But if they do come back guilty, we'll all be very saddened, and there'll be a lot of, I don't know, what else can I say?
No, that's interesting. I just want the truth. That's all we want is the truth, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Want the truth. And it's too bad that they don't find the truth and actually go after the people that actually did kill John O'Keefe. Because now you've got an innocent woman being framed, and people that did it are getting away with murder.
Will you come every day? Because, you know, the verdict may not be today. It could be in any minute, any moment, but it may not be today. Will you be here tomorrow?
Yeah, as long as it takes.
As long as it takes. Okay. All right. I mean, I'm so jealous. Are you using vacation days today, or?
I'm off today. Business, but.
Okay. No, I'm just wondering.
I don't know.
No, I'm just wondering because it takes time to be here. Right. Right. Like, to me, that demonstrates.
Just quit your jobs.
Well, to me, it demonstrates the level of belief, right, and concern that you have that you would take your own personal time to come here. I mean, that's making a statement.
Yeah.
I believe. Okay. But you'll be here every day.
Be here every day.
We'll take attendance. Make sure you're here. Why do you think so many show up? Like so many. I've never seen this. The closest to we would get to this. Ted, is this probably close to Michael Jackson, maybe?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, this is, and that was the world's most famous celebrity. This is Karen Read. Nobody knew her before this. Why so many people?
I think people are just convicted in what they believe. Whether you feel for the family, which I do, but I don't believe she did it. And people are strong about that. They don't want it to happen to me or you or anybody. just because someone's covering up for something, which could be or may not be, I don't know. But
The jury will tell us, right?
I guess so.
It is such a unique dynamic that is taking place here in Dedham. I say, and I've been saying it, I haven't seen anything quite like this. You know, we've seen, the only support we've ever seen for a criminal defendant that I can remember is a celebrity. And then there was some way back when for the Menendez brothers. But since in between, it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Why did it happen? Let's talk about it. Got some great guests. Joining me live in Dedham, Kevin Lenahan, author of the book Storm of Suspicion, the Karen Reed Trials. Also here with us, journalist Rebecca Lavoie. She is the host of Crime Writers on podcast. We're also joined by longtime Massachusetts attorney who prosecuted a case right here that I covered years ago. We won't tell him how long ago. Rick Grundy is with us. And Karen Reed supporter and insider Nick Rocco. Great to see everyone. All right, we'll begin here. Why? How did this happen? Nobody knew her.
Yeah. You know, one of the things I think that's interesting about this case is the crossing of political lines we've seen, right? So people who typically wouldn't be mistrustful of the police are out here basically talking about police misconduct, prosecutorial misconduct. I have come to believe that there's an element of like anti-bullying in this case, because you've seen the people who've come, especially from Canton, saying, you know, we're not going to take it anymore. You know, we've felt like we've been under the thumb of these cops, under the thumb of these families, and I think that resonates with people. People want to see the bullies go down, in a sense. And I actually think that's feeding a lot of the enthusiasm here.
Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, I think they've told a story that absolutely resonates.
When you say they, who's they?
Well, the defense team.
But was it the defense team story that got this going? Is that what it was?
I don't think they invented the story. Actually, what I have found...
No, but every defense team has a defense. Every defense team tells a story. This doesn't happen, what's happening at this courthouse.
Yeah, but I think there are aspects of this story that do resonate with people, as what Rebecca was saying. And I think there's an aspect of people that feel a little bit outside of control of what's going on in their job or in their lives or something like this. And so they look at that and they see someone like Karen as a victim and they put themselves in her shoes. And I think that resonates with them. And there's an aspect of the story that just has a certain appeal to people, as conspiracy theories always do. And I found that this whole theory about what happened here, about John being killed inside the house, formed organically, kind of like an urban legend that happened before Karen even knew about it. It literally happened in about 2 days, just because it had all those elements to it.
Okay, Rick Grundy. I don't recall anyone showing up at the courthouse to support Dr. Dirk Greinader a couple decades ago. What's going on here?
Well, he did have his 3 kids, but that was about it. I think, you know, a lot of it was ginned up by virtue of the Turtle Boy. And Turtle Boy, as opposed to a genuine journalist or a person with the Commonwealth during an investigation, putting information out there, is responsible to no one. And he's really the one that put out all of these conspiratorial theories, which were then picked up and developed and investigated by the defense. So I really think that's where it all germinated. The other thing I would say, Vinny, is that you talked a little bit about in the intro how this is going to affect people, and it used to be police officers get on the stand, everybody believes them. Massachusetts has a rather long history, in particular the state police, as fantastic a job as those assigned to the DA's office usually do on the high-level crimes, primarily homicides. The Mass State Police has a storied past with respect to, there's always a wave of indictments going through, whether it's stealing overtime or drunken hijinks. So I think that seed had already been planted, and a lot of these people here are reacting to that is fairly prevalent.
So there's a bit of a history. There's a bit of a history. Gotcha.
And not just the state
Nick Rocco?
police in general.
Right. Nick Rocco, let me ask you. You can give your personal story. You can tell us the story of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people that are on the Facebook page that you started. What's going on here? Why? And why did they why do they show up also? It's like you've got to, I understand once in a while you can jump on, you can watch the trial from work, you can go on social media, but there are hundreds and hundreds of people that are showing up here.
Yeah, I mean, this is the question you asked me it might have been a few months ago. Where are the people? And I said they're there. It was just that a lot of people were nervous about that buffer zone. They saw, one person get arrested, other people being threatened to be arrested. And then once that buffer zone became more relaxed, more people, were comfortable to come out. If you look at majority of the people that are out there, it's women. Now, these people were the same people that were there last year, if not more people. I've actually noticed more and more people are coming from different states. There was a sign there that someone was from Canada there today. So people are coming from all over the place to support Karen Read, because at this point, most people have watched trial 1, but if they haven't and they're only watching trial number 2, they can see what's being put in front of them, and hopefully the jury sees the same thing that the thousands of people that are supporting her see.
All right, my trial insiders are going to stay with us. We've got a lot to get to. We are live in downtown Dedham, across the street from the courthouse, like you, waiting for a verdict. When you believe this moment will happen?
I believe by the end of the day they'll have a verdict, and then they'll come back in the morning with it.
They're going to sleep on it.
Ooh. I believe so. I'm praying it's today, but who knows? Okay. We're just hopeful for a not guilty, not guilty, not guilty for Karen.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates, tonight, 9/8 Central, only on Court TV.
The brutal murders of 4 University of Idaho students.
Detectives arrested Brian Kohlberger.
And I pray that we have justice.
The Idaho College Student Murders Trial. Live coverage begins this August, only on Court TV.
I feel well, I feel strong, and the jury will do the right thing.
That was pretty much all we heard today. I mean, we just did not hear much. We didn't hear anything from the jurors themselves. The attorneys are still gagged. So Karen Read, a few things, walking, in the gaggle of reporters trying to get something, trying to get some idea, some story of today. Well, for me, the story today was the scene outside of the courthouse. And it's such a big part of all of this. Right? I mean, the reason this trial is so big because of so many people are following it, but they're not just following it, they're supporting Karen Read, someone they didn't know before all this happened. And walking through and amongst them, you get a flavor, and you also get an idea. I tried to show you where the different areas are around the courthouse that are significant. Take a look. Take a look down the street. It goes even further down. I was up here in the beginning of the trial, and none of these people were here, Ted. These are all Johnny-come-latelys. I was here when this trial started back in, or not when it started, like 2 weeks in May. I came out, there were a dozen people over here, there were 6 people over here. But once it's time for the verdict and deliberations, it's obvious that everyone's going to use their time to show their support. I think the support early on was hampered by the weather, was hampered by the rulings in the buffer zone, completely changed the dynamic. But since it's been relaxed a little bit, the dynamic has come back. And the best part is, like I was saying, Ted, you have hundreds and hundreds of people here who are abiding by the rules, which is you're not chanting, you're not screaming, you're not yelling. And it's not easy to do. You get in a crowd, you get excited, you want to, make your point, but everyone understands the gravity of it. And I think that's where we are. I feel like the anticipation is growing, like the conversations, no one is chanting, no one is protesting, but I think the conversations are getting a little bit stronger amongst each other, because I think it's all part of, we believe this thing can happen at any moment.
But having seen this grow over the last 2+ months, I never would have anticipated this. First of all, let's just say the lawsuits that were filed on behalf of what I'm calling the First Amendment zone led to this, because the cops here were brutal in keeping this whole area sanitized. Really, the buffer zone, they called it. It was just wrong. We filed the lawsuits. Mark Randazzo did an amazing job. This is the result. And is this, are people yelling, screaming, burning buildings? I mean, this is a pretty sedate but large crowd here.
It's extreme. I mean, it shocked me when I walked up, because I was here back in May, and, you know, a few people here and there came back with the relaxed rules and the anticipation of the verdict. How do you think it'll go here, though, if it comes back with a guilty, like we see in the overwhelming majority of verdicts on Court TV?
I'm going to call it loud disappointment. I mean, I don't think any of the state troopers' cars are going to be turned over. Things are set afire. Major disappointment, and hope that on appeal things will be changed.
How about, and the alternative? The not guilty comes down. What do you think happens in the streets here?
Just a loud uproar of vindication. Remember, this is, you know, Vinny, this is as much about Karen Reed as it is all the folks who live here, who see issues with law enforcement here, who see issues with the DA here, who see issues with the court here. And this is a symptom for them. So if they see a victory here, I think they're going to read it as a victory on a much larger scale.
And you may recognize those who've been watching Court TV for years. That was Michael Bryant, used to work at Court TV, one of our alum who is here doing his podcast. I think it's called Justice Served, I'm pretty sure. Let's bring back in our guests, our Karen Reed insider still with me, Kevin Lenahan, Rebecca Lavoie, live with us here in Dedham. Also Rick Grundy and Karen Reed insider Nick Rocco. Nick, I got to ask you, I'm standing on the sidewalk. We're waiting for, you know, the defense team to arrive, and the SUVs pull up, the two black SUVs. You know, I see the driver get out. He's got the thing in his ear. And then I see Karen Reed get out. I see some of the attorneys get out. And then, did I see you get out of the SUV also?
No, I wasn't in the SUV today. But a lot of the other car is basically all of the interns that just graduated college who are helping out on this case. So they were the ones who have been coming in the other SUV. But I think as days move closer to the end of the week, I think what we're seeing now is just the beginning. The people that are going to be out there, you met them all, Vinny. A lot of these people know the trial inside and out, and this is, you know, who some people like. We call it a mindless mob, and that's not what these people are. These people truly care about the outcome of this case because they truly believe that Karen Reed is being framed for this murder and that she didn't commit it. And again, I think it's just going to keep growing, and it's going to get bigger and bigger until eventually the verdict comes out.
Let me ask you, Rebecca and Kevin, what do you suspect the reaction is here when this verdict is delivered, and everyone outside, they're all going to go to their phones, right? They're going to be watching, and they're going to see it pretty much all at the same time. What do you expect? Let's start first with not guilty.
Yeah, I think it's going to be jubilant. I mean, I think there's definitely a sense of, I've been following this, what feels like a whodunit. I'm extremely invested in the characters in the case. I mean, one of the things that really strikes me watching the footage is people cheering for a legal team. I mean, lawyers, right? Not necessarily a beloved profession. And you have people here who've made, you know, characters of these lawyers. They're really invested not just in the outcome, but also in the storyline. So I think that there's going to be like true jubilance if there's a not guilty verdict.
Well,
how does that jubilance manifest itself, if you agree?
You know, I think most people are going to be respectful. But my mind can't help but go to the family of John O'Keefe, the possibility, whatever the verdict is, if there's a mistrial, that they have to go through this possibly a third time, or if they don't.
No, stop, Kevin. We're not saying that word mistrial. No. We're not jinxing it. I am here. See, I wasn't here last time during deliberations, so I'm here to make sure there's a verdict.
Right. But that's where my heart will be, and also just understanding that they know what happened here, and that the feeling of not getting justice for their son, for their brother, also for the witnesses that have been persecuted and falsely accused by a defense team that took advantage of things to exploit the public and turn up this theory. And I can't help but my heart goes to them, to what they have to go through. Their lives have been wrecked in many ways, and if they don't get the right verdict that really, in a sense, liberates them, it's very unfair. It's very unjust.
Rick, what are your thoughts? How do you think the initial reaction plays out here in the streets of Dedham if, in fact, the jury utters the two words, not guilty, that we don't hear that often on Court TV, although since COVID, we're hearing a lot more?
Yeah, I think basically what Rebecca said. I think you'll hear a loud outburst. I think there'll be some dancing in the streets. I don't think there'll be any kind of out of control behavior or destruction or anything like that. But they'll all celebrate. You know, it's kind of funny how we've spoken many times, and I think even the Karen Read supporters or the people who are leaning towards the prosecution all kind of agree that Miss Read doesn't present herself as all that sympathetic a figure in the courtroom. You know, she doesn't show a lot of emotion or anything at times where you think she might. And it's really juxtaposed to this, what's happening outside the court where she's a folk idol. So that's just an interesting, you know, where does the jury fall on that? You know, again, there's been so much said. I'm sure the jury has some understanding of what's going on with respect to support, but it's different in the courtroom.
Nick, let me ask you the follow-up now. What do you suspect will be the immediate response outside the courthouse if the jury utters the word guilty?
They're going to have a lot of upset people, you know, angry people, but I cannot see these are the type of people that are going to be flipping cars and trying to, you know, rush up the courthouse steps. I think it's just going to be a sad day all around because ultimately, if Karen Read is found guilty for this crime, John O'Keefe still is not really getting justice because when you really look at the facts of this case and you look at everything else behind it, the support, and everything else, you know, Karen Read didn't do it. So it'll be a sad day, unfortunately.
All right, we've got more to get to. Our insider's staying with us. By the sounds of the motors behind me, you can tell we're in downtown Dedham, across the street from the courthouse, on a verdict watch.
If Karen comes back and he comes back not guilty, this place is going to be joy. It's going to be wild. It's going to be tears. It's going to be happiness, relief.
I'm so happy to be here. Like, seeing everybody here is just, it's so worth everything that we did. Like, I'm just so happy everyone's here. There's like at least 1,000 people here.
Have any of you ever been involved in anything like this before?
Not yet.
Any sort of... Comedians here too, right? No, but before this case, had you ever gotten involved?
No, nothing. This is the first time ever going to protests and standouts and coming to court all the time for something. Just, it's crazy.
And that's another interesting aspect of the dynamic of the folks following this case and have become so passionate about it. For a lot of them that I've spoken to, this is the first time that they've ever really followed a criminal case. Now, we know we have our core true crime folks out there who are watching this trial, but there's a whole new group of people who have sort of joined in. And, you know, what I always hope when a moment like that happens is that people now get a little more interested in our system of justice and the way it works and the way that sometimes it doesn't work. We pay a lot of attention to the legislators, right, who are making laws, but how about the people who are prosecuting the laws, people who are enforcing the laws? We should have our attention on that as well, and I think that'll be one good outcome, regardless of what the verdict is, just because all people have gotten involved in our system of justice. Let's take a look here. I spoke to some folks, and we talked about the buffer zone issue. Take a look. How will people know that something is happening inside the courtroom? Let me show you how they're going to know. If we turn around right here, if you look where those two officers are, that is the spot or the spots where Karen Read and her defense team pull up to. They are not staying here at the courthouse. They're staying off-site, but when they need to come back here because something is happening, they'll pull their black SUVs up right there. It's Karen Read, their security, plus obviously the defense team. And when that moment happens, this crowd starts to rumble, and they get ready. They know they can't make noise. They can't cheer. They can't chant. But there's a rumble that you feel in that moment when Karen Read and her team pull up because they know something is happening inside the courtroom. Now, obviously, the lawyers, yeah, there we go. A lot of excitement. you have the lawyers and Karen Reed coming out, and sometimes Karen Reed, because she's permitted to, may speak and give us an indication as to why they've returned to the courthouse. Could be a note, could be a question, could be a verdict. So that's why all eyes are focused on that area across the street. We're in the buffer zone, right?
We're in the buffer zone.
Last time I was here, there was nobody in the buffer zone. What changed?
So we had started coming down in about November on days where there wasn't court for Karen, and we'd hold signs protesting Judge Canone specifically. When the buffer zone order came down, we took it to federal court and fought it. We had to go back a couple of times, but we won the right to be able to stand out here now. Yes.
And what are the limit? You can't make a lot of noise though. No. That's one. So what are the limitations that you have being in here?
So we can have certain signs and shirts. It's a little confusing. I do know that we cannot have anything that says Free Karen Reed on it or FKR, but we are allowed to wear like the Jackson Yannetti shirts. I was told that we can't have Justice for Officer John O'Keefe stuff in here.
You can.
You can, is what I was told. I could be wrong, so don't quote me. It was mostly just like Free Karen or anyone directly, like you can't have anything targeting the witnesses. So it's a lot.
How has it changed? How's it changed things here?
I think it's great. I love it. I'm so happy to be here. Like, seeing everybody here is just, it's so worth everything that we did. Like, I'm just so happy everyone's here. There's like at least 1,000 people here.
Have any of you ever been involved in anything like this before?
Last year.
Any sort of... Comedians here too, right? No, but before this case, had you ever gotten involved?
No, nothing. This is the first time ever going to protests and standouts and coming to court all the time for something. Just, it's crazy. It's.
So what is it? Like a lot of people have that question. People watching from around the country are wondering, why are they all here? What drove you to be here? What drove you to bring a court case?
I think a lot of people relate to Karen. She could be any one of us. I feel like the corruption in this case is blatantly obvious. I think a lot of people just realize this could be me, it could be her, it could be any one of us standing here. And unfortunately, a lot of us wouldn't have the means to fight this. She's very lucky in the lawyers that she got, and Aidan Carney spread the news, and we all joined in, and we're all here to make sure that people know what's going on.
All right, let's bring back in our Karen Reed insiders. Kevin Lenahan, Rebecca Lavoie are with me here in Dedham live. Also joining us, Rick Grundy and Karen Reed supporter Nick Rocco. Kevin, is this your first true crime case you've covered, or is that what you do?
This is one of the early ones I've done. I've covered older cases like Lizzie Borden. I've done a series on the Delphi murders and things like that. But yeah, I'm still pretty new at this, and it's not something I'm passionate about. But once I got sucked into this and seeing there's a sense of responsibility about it too. You want to cover things fairly to everybody involved in it,
Yeah. For you, this is what you do, right?
Actually, no. I'm a journalist by day, and we actually typically cover the media around true crime.
Oh, okay.
This
Gotcha.
is the first time a trial itself, a case itself, has sort of pulled me in, and I've covered it step by step. Yeah.
Nick Rocco, let me ask you, is this the last trial you'll ever follow or be involved in, or you think you're going to stay in on the world of justice?
I don't think I'll be as involved in following other trials, but yeah, it definitely piques my interest as far as what is actually happening out there. And unfortunately, we don't get to see every single case that goes through a courtroom in every county and state around here. But it would be interesting if it was more televised and more out to the public, so people can follow and actually see what's going on.
Yeah. Well, Rick, what are your thoughts? Because again, one of my takeaways is that a lot of people now are paying much more attention to the third branch of government, which often gets ignored by the public. They get enthralled with their local governors or the president or a senator, and the judicial branch, really important and probably touches people's lives more directly.
Yeah, absolutely. We spoke recently about that trial we did, I guess it was 2 or 3 years ago, and the particular judge, Judge Chernoff, and you mentioned how he was so open to the press covering it and accommodating. And he said to all the litigants in that case repeatedly, I want to do this the right way, and I want to open it up as much as we possibly can for that exact purpose, to educate the public. I love Nick Rocco. I love listening to him. And, this is not easy stuff necessarily to pick up on the run. And what he's got in his head now with respect to the system, not just this case, is terrific to see. And he'll take it to others outside. So it's a tremendous education. And, I wish they had opened up the big courtroom and more people could have seen it live.
Yeah, to people to be in the courtroom to see, and that didn't happen, obviously. So Kevin, do you think, as at some point this case is going to be over? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to guarantee it, but at some point this case is going to be over. What is the long-lasting impact of what has been experienced here locally?
I think, like what you're saying, even just locally, but just in general, people need to learn more about how the system works. And just even, for instance, the misconceptions we have. We think these cases are like TV. So we think Trooper Proctor, for example, is running around like Columbo, running around solving the cases. Now he's more an administrator. And we didn't understand that the evidence actually goes back to the evidence room, unsurprisingly, at the Norfolk County's DA's office. We think it's running to a state police barrack. So there's just a lot for us to learn, and we in the public should be learning it, and we got to ask tough questions and pay close attention.
Do you think the public got a good perspective of the system here?
I do, and I think that, the First Amendment has been widely misunderstood, especially in recent years, I think, with political discourse. This case has so many elements sort of overlapping with First Amendment issues that I think just constitutionally, it's been a tremendous lesson for people.
Absolutely. We have a few seconds left here. Rick, I'll give you 15 seconds. Give me your final thought here as day one of deliberations concludes.
My final thought would be, I was thinking about this today. This jury knows full well that there was a first trial, and it was mentioned exactly as that throughout the case. How that may affect them in their deliberations. Do they look at it like, hey, look, one jury got out of this by having a mistrial. No matter what she says to us in the Tui Rodriguez instruction, we can duck out too. Or do they go the opposite direction and say, we got to get this done now? But one way or the other, they know that a jury was unable to reach a decision.
All right, Nick Rocco, I'll give you the last 15 seconds.
On to tomorrow. I mean, it's another day, bright and early. Who knows? Maybe like what you said, where the jury has a verdict, but they're sleeping on it. It might come early in the morning, it might come later in the day. But Thursday's a holiday, so hopefully they do it before then.
Absolutely. Nick Rocco, Rick Grundy, Kevin Lenahan, Rebecca Lavoie, thank you all so much. Great to have you here. When we return, I will reveal something else you need to know tonight.
We're just hopeful for a not guilty, not guilty, not guilty for Karen.
Not guilty.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates, coming up next, only on Court TV.
It's the biggest story that we're covering. He is the boogeyman.
So many eyes have been on Donna Adelson from the beginning.
A social media sensation, now a suspected killer.
Welcome back. Time to reveal something else you need to know tonight. Let's take a look at the big board and see what's happening in the world of crime and justice. A deadly ambush. Finally, an arrest. Vance Bolter, the accused assassin. The two murder victims, Melissa Hortman and Mark Hortman. Really a heartbreaking story, but a cold-blooded assassination of a politician and her husband. Two other victims survived assassination attempts. Here's Joe Thompson, acting U.S. Attorney for the District of Minnesota.
Political assassinations are rare. They strike at the very core of our democracy. But the details of Belter's crime are even worse. They are truly chilling. It is no exaggeration to say that his crimes are the stuff of nightmares. Belter stalked his victims like prey. He went to their homes, held himself out as a police officer, and shot them in cold blood.
This is Brian William Laney Alexander, 17 years old. He is missing tonight. Please, if you see Brian, make a call, make a difference. 911, 1-800-THE-LOST. We'll be right back. Please don't forget to hug the kids.